Hey everybody, welcome back to The Successful Restaurant. Today we're going to talk about food pricing strategy. Now, how is this different from food costing? Well, food costing is a little bit more the what you do to come up with your prices. Food costing strategy is a bit more about the why. Why do we price things in a certain way in certain types of restaurants and in other ways in other types of restaurants? So in general, when people talk about food costing, we hear a lot about the tactical side of it. The what do you do? Start with your cost of goods, go backwards from there, look at your competitive set, see what they're charging for things, all of those things. But before we get to any of that, there needs to be a bit more thought put into why we're going to be doing things the way that we're going to be doing things. When we think about food pricing, there's three elements to that we have to consider each time. And unfortunately, everybody wants all three of them. That means the customers want all three. We, obviously looking out for our customers, want to give them all three. And those three things are low price, high quality ingredients, and large portion size. Everybody wants those three things. But unfortunately, if we were to do large portion sizes of high quality ingredients at a low price, there wouldn't be any money to be made. And after all, it's a business. So we have to prioritize. We have to figure out what's the priority. And we want to make sure that we prioritize those things based on what's the best for our ideal guest. What do they prefer? First, ask yourself, who is your ideal guest? What's the demographic? How old are they? How much money do they make? Things like that. That's going to determine which two of these three things we prioritize. It's important to note that the number one worst possible option is to not pay attention to any of those and do high prices, low quality ingredients, and small portion size. That obviously won't make anybody happy. The second worst thing you can do is to try to do all three, because by trying to find a balance between the three of those things, you'll end up not doing any of them quite enough to impress any of your guests. So again, we need to prioritize based on our ideal guests. So a few examples of this would be if you are in an area where your ideal guest is older, for example, baby boomer age, retirees, your restaurant style is more of, say, a diner or kind of a comfort food restaurant, older demographics tend to prioritize low price and large portion size over the quality of the ingredients. Now, that doesn't mean give them bad ingredients, but it may not mean that we're going to use the most expensive ingredients. Whereas that same style of food in an area that's geared more towards a millennial diner, they put much more priority on the quality of the ingredients than anything else. So we can compromise on the price based on their economic status in the area, or we can compromise on the portion size, which doesn't have as big of an impact with the millennial diner either. So as an example, if we're going to be doing chicken sandwiches in our restaurant, if we're strategically thinking about the pricing of our menu based on an older clientele, we're going to want a larger portion at a better price. But we may be able to get your normal run-of-the-mill off-the-shelf chicken. Whereas if you're going for a millennial diner that puts a much higher premium on things like organic ingredients, grass-fed or free-range ingredients, things like that, which tend to be a lot more expensive, we're going to want to make sure that the chicken we use is organic, grass-fed, free-range, even if that means that we have to charge a bit more for that item, or if we have to reduce down the portion size of that item. As with everything, when we're discussing a restaurant concept, it's really super important to align with your ideal guest. So as you can see, depending on who that ideal guest is, we're going to make very different strategic decisions. Those strategic decisions are going to be based on aligning two of those three: low price, large portion size, and high quality ingredients. Align two of those three with the priority preferences of your ideal guest. And we're going to want to do that before we do any of our actual menu design or any of our actual pricing. So before we design the menu, before we even select our vendors, because certain products we wouldn't be able to get from certain vendors, and certainly before we set our final pricing on the menu, we're going to want to consider who the ideal guest is and which two of those three things they prioritize. Once we have that all set, then we can start to work into the tactics, meaning order that organic chicken, find out what it costs, build out the pricing based off of that, and see what we need to do with portion size based off of that. So as with anything, if we want to do it right in the end, We want to work on strategy first and then tactics. I hope this helps a bit when you're thinking about designing your menu. If you're interested in any more information about the Successful Restaurant and the different products that we offer, you can go ahead and click the link that's in the description down below, and it will take you to a page that discusses our courses, our community, even our mentoring program, which can help you open and operate your successful restaurant. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.